On the 17th and 18th of September, 2024, Lebanon was rocked by a series of explosions. Ordinary pagers and radios transformed into deadly bombs. 37 confirmed dead, thousands injured. Marketplaces, homes, streets, nowhere was safe. The blasts were sudden, violent, and terrifying. Emergency services were overwhelmed. Lebanon had never witnessed such a coordinated assault. Fear and suspicion gripped the nation. Hezbollah pointed the finger at Israel. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah addressed the nation, his voice filled with anger and defiance. He directly accused Israel of orchestrating the pager bomb attacks. He called it an act of terrorism, a desperate attempt to sow fear and destabilize Lebanon. Nasrallah vowed swift and decisive retaliation. He declared that Israel would pay a heavy price for its actions. His words resonated with many Lebanese, who harbored deep resentment towards Israel after years of conflict. Israel remained silent, offering no immediate response to the accusations. But the history between the two adversaries spoke volumes. Years of animosity, of covert operations and open warfare hung heavy in the air. The international community watched with bated breath. The situation was volatile, a powder keg waiting to explode. The pager bomb attacks had ignited a firestorm, and no one knew how far it would spread. The weapons that had brought Lebanon to its knees were deceptively simple. Pagers and radios, everyday objects found in homes and businesses across the country. But these were no ordinary devices. They had been meticulously transformed into instruments of death. The bombs were small, easily concealed within the plastic casings of the pagers and radios. They were triggered remotely, detonated with chilling precision. The explosives used were powerful enough to cause significant damage, shredding flesh and shattering bone. Investigators worked tirelessly, piecing together the fragments of the detonated devices. They discovered that the pagers and radios bore the logo of Gold Apollo, a Taiwanese electronics company. But something wasn't right. The devices were counterfeit, cheap imitations of the real thing. The trail led to Hungary, to a company called BAC Consulting. They held the license to use Gold Apollo's trademark. But who was BAC Consulting, and what was their connection to the pager bombs? The investigation was about to take a sinister turn.
是这样的吗？
是因为那个产品里面来讲的话，没有我们在这3年出货给他的。你想想，这不是我们生产的，没有一台是我们出货给他。
BAC Consulting was an enigma. Little was known about the company, its operations shrouded in secrecy. They had no website, no public profile. They were a ghost in the world of international trade. Lebanese investigators dug deeper, trying to penetrate the veil of secrecy surrounding BAC Consulting. They uncovered a trail of shell companies and offshore accounts, all leading back to a handful of individuals with suspected ties to Israeli intelligence. The evidence was circumstantial but compelling. It painted a picture of a sophisticated operation orchestrated by a state actor with the means and motive to carry out such an attack. The implications were chilling. If Israel was behind the pager bombs, it represented a dangerous escalation in tactics. The use of everyday objects as weapons, targeting civilians on such a massive scale, was a chilling development. The world held its breath, waiting for answers. Section 5. Global Implications Communication Security Under Threat. The pager bomb attacks sent shockwaves far beyond Lebanon's borders. The world watched in horror, realizing that a new era of warfare had begun, one where the line between civilian and military targets was blurred, and everyday objects could be transformed into weapons of mass destruction. The attack exposed a critical vulnerability in our increasingly interconnected world. Communication devices, once symbols of progress and connectivity, could now be used to sow terror and death. The implications for global security were profound. Governments and intelligence agencies scrambled to assess the threat. If pagers and radios could be turned into bombs, what about cell phones, laptops, even children's toys? The possibilities were terrifying. The pager bomb attacks served as a wake-up call. They forced the world to confront the uncomfortable truth that in the 21st century, no one is safe. And that the battleground has shifted. It's no longer just about armies and tanks. It's about information, technology, and the very fabric of our digital lives. Section 6. The changing face of warfare, innovation, and terror. The pager bomb attacks marked a paradigm shift in modern warfare. They exploited technologies that connect us, turning them against us. The enemy was a shadow within our digital lives. This new warfare was asymmetric, unpredictable, and effective. It bypassed defenses, striking at civilian populations. It sowed fear, undermining trust and eroding society. The nature of conflict is constantly evolving. Those who fail to adapt will be outmatched. In the 21st century, the most dangerous weapon is an idea. Section 7. The need for international cooperation. The pager bomb attacks highlighted the urgent need for international cooperation in combating this new threat. No single nation could hope to tackle it alone. It required a coordinated global effort, sharing intelligence, resources, and expertise. The international community needed to develop new strategies and technologies to counter the threat posed by these unconventional weapons. This included strengthening communication infrastructure, developing countermeasures against remote detonation devices, and tracking down and dismantling the networks involved in their production and distribution. But perhaps the most important element was the need for dialogue. The international community needed to engage in open and honest discussions about the changing nature of warfare and the threats posed by these new technologies. Only through dialogue and cooperation could we hope to find solutions and prevent future tragedies. Section 8. The aftermath, Lebanon reeling. In the aftermath of the pager bomb attacks, Lebanon was left to pick up the pieces. The physical damage was extensive, but the psychological scars ran deeper. The nation was traumatized, haunted by the memory of the explosions and the fear that it could happen again. The Lebanese people showed remarkable resilience in the face of adversity. They came together to help their neighbors, offering food, shelter, and support to those who had lost everything. But the road to recovery would be long and arduous. The attacks had exposed deep divisions within Lebanese society. Some blamed Hezbollah for provoking Israel, while others pointed the finger at the government for failing to protect its citizens. The fragile peace that had existed was shattered, replaced by suspicion and mistrust. Section 9. The shadow of doubt, unanswered questions. Despite the accusations and investigations, many questions remained unanswered. Israel continued to deny any involvement in the pager bomb attacks. The true origins of the devices and the identities of those who detonated them remained a mystery. The lack of conclusive evidence fueled speculation and conspiracy theories. Some whispered of rogue elements within the Israeli government operating outside the chain of command. Others pointed to the involvement of other regional powers, seeking to destabilize Lebanon and advance their own agendas. The truth, as is often the case, was likely far more complex. A tangled web of motivations, alliances, and betrayals that may never be fully untangled. The pager bomb attacks remained a chilling reminder that in the murky world of international espionage, truth is often the first casualty. Section 10. The future of conflict, a chilling preview. The pager bomb attacks offered a chilling glimpse into the future of warfare. A future where technology is both the weapon and the target, and the line between civilian and military targets is increasingly blurred. A future where invisible enemies can strike anytime, anywhere, using everyday objects as weapons of mass destruction. The challenge for the international community was clear. We needed to find new ways to combat this threat, to adapt to the changing nature of warfare. We needed to strengthen our defenses, both physical and digital, and work together to create a safer world. The pager bomb attacks were a wake-up call, a stark reminder that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. We must never take our security for granted, for the enemies of peace and progress are always lurking, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Section 11. A call for peace, ending the cycle of violence. In the end, the pager bomb attacks were a tragedy for all involved. They brought death and destruction to Lebanon, fueled tensions between Israel and Hezbollah, and cast a long shadow over the Middle East. The only way to prevent such tragedies from happening again was to break the cycle of violence that had plagued the region for far too long. This required dialogue, compromise, and a shared commitment to peace. It was time for leaders on all sides to choose the path of diplomacy over the path of war, to choose hope over hatred, to choose a future where children could grow up without fear, and the sound of explosions was replaced by the laughter of peace. The world was watching, hoping that this time they would make the right choice.